support a multitude of firms across aggregators, individual RIAs, and I think probably the primary concern that we see, or at least that's being addressed, is how do I get to the next gen? Like, next gen is big, it's a huge issue for them. What are we going to do to bring new people into the industry? I think that's one, and obviously organic growth is the other challenge that you hear over and over again. But I think the next gen piece is something, as we look to more and more of the industry moving towards the independent side and not having the large institutions being this incubator for young talent, how are we going to get young talent interested and engaged in the industry? And then when we do, what's the process by which we engage them? Like how do we bring them along? Because, what I've seen in this space is that you bring in the young talent, but if you bring in the young talent just to service an existing practice, that's where this kind of becomes a problem, I think, at the entity level, at the business level, because you have to teach new people how to hunt in this business. If they're not out and engaging and developing new clients, and we don't teach them how to do that, we're just giving them a block of business to service, that becomes challenging, because ultimately those clients will get older, that book will age, and if we don't have an inflow of new business, i.e. organic growth, which would be the second piece of the challenge, right? So it is, number one, identifying where's the fresh talent coming from in the space, the next gen talent coming from, and then how are we educating them to drive deeper and grow business as opposed to service existing business. Organic growth is going to come by new client acquisition, or it's going to come by looking at the existing block of business and figuring out new revenue streams inside that block of business. And I think, the challenges come in, number one, are the advisors open to moving into new areas of business? And I think that's, for us, you think about us as a kind of a consultant in the insurance space, 80-90% of the people that do business with us don't sell insurance as their primary means of revenue. So we had to find a way to build a bridge to keep the advisor from being concerned that we're going to upset the client relationship. And all of that has to be built around education. It has to be built around value. It can't be a sales process, which is what the insurance industry has traditionally been. So, that piece of it, I think the organic growth part of it, when we're looking at a new line of business, a new revenue opportunity, right? Like we say, try to monetize the relationship. So if we're going to try to monetize the relationship, how do we build that bridge, but do it in a way that fits the culture, fits the language of the firm? And that's something I think that we work really hard at as an organization. I think the industry as a whole has to get much better at that, because, the industry as a whole is a hammer looking for a nail, and that really does not work in this space. This space has to be really built around education, around consulting, around bringing real value and relationships to the table when we're talking about looking at monetizing relationships, which is ultimately, to me, a place where organic growth lives, right? It's like we have these relationships, we built it around wealth management, we built it around asset management. Now, how can I monetize that relationship in other ways? That's number one. The new client development piece, that's a whole nother discussion. We're seeing things like AI, firms like Finny, we've created client gen on the lead generation side for the new client development side, and a lot like what I said about new advisors coming into the business, teaching them how to hunt, teaching them how to prospect. So I think those two things are the two challenges, and we're consistently trying to innovate around those two challenges. So we talk about technology and insurance, and it's almost a painful conversation for me to have. Right, I try to tell the firms that we work with, they're all looking for technological utopia. Everyone, they want technological utopia, something that connects, it seamlessly communicates. And the reality is the insurance industry and the wealth management industry don't talk from a technological perspective. Everything's built with Band-Aids, everything's kind of carefully connected, but there is no seamless solution. And so, sometimes my transparency gets me into trouble, but I do talk about that because we want our clients and our relationships to understand, we want to solve this problem, but it's not something that's easily solved. When you think about insurance distribution, probably 75% of the distribution in the life insurance space specifically, even in the fixed annuity space to some extent, are coming from independent producing insurance people. Those people don't really care about technology. They're not trying to build tech stacks. They're not launching firms. They don't see themselves as founders. They just sell stuff. They give them some paperwork, they'll sign an application, they'll pick up a check, and they'll move forward. This world doesn't really operate like that, but it's kind of the tail wagging the dog. I'm asking the insurance company to invest, to pay attention to, helping me get data, helping me build this. And they're like, I see the future of distribution is wealth management, is kind of the asset management side, is the RIA side. I see that, but the revenues are still coming from this group over here, so I'm not going to spend any money, or I have no interest in doing that. So it's firms like us that have to step in and build that bridge. And so, for all the RIAs that are looking at how do I incorporate insurance business into my practice, and how can I do it from a technology perspective, understand that anything that you're being told is all being built with Band-Aids. There is no kind of uniform solution. I think we'll get there, but what's going to end up having to happen is the revenue pendulum is going to have to swing far enough over to the side of the wealth management space for the insurance companies to take notice. In the interim, we'll continue to build those bridges between the two.